About when he comes on the show in the next hour. Actually, not going to be asking him about the qualified, unqualified, but anyone who does can go, because it's a silly little fight. Yeah. But the issues we can go deep on with him, especially the Daily News article. I'm going to re-ask some of those questions because he really came up short. I was surprised. I love the excitement around his message.
I thought the best part was, okay, J.P. Morgan's got 102 billion in assets. They've got
what are you going to do?
190,000 employees. Day one, how do we break this thing up?
Right.
No answer.
Yeah, now that's interesting. And we have the honor of having him on, and we will ask him real questions instead of getting into these silly little fights.
That's the way it works?
But when you say his name, he raises money. It's amazing. Very different than the way other candidates raise money. They have to actually go to fundraising.
Really? The Daily News article is actually how you all got into that line of questioning about whether or not he's qualified to be president. So it's good to re-ask and viewers can judge for themselves. You heard Bernie and Jane Sanders trying to tamp down all this unqualified talk yesterday, but the Sanders campaign, is still out beating this drum. Jeff Weaver is the campaign manager for Bernie Sanders. Listen to what he had to say yesterday about Hillary Clinton.
I think if you look at her record, if you look at her campaign, her campaign is funded by millions and millions of dollars from Wall Street and other special interests. She's really made a deal with the devil, and we all know the devil wants his money in the end. So that's the kind of campaign she's running. She supported these terrible trade deals which have devastated American manufacturing in this country. She supported the war in Iraq. She continues to have a very, very hawkish foreign policy, which has led to the rise and expansion of ISIS throughout the Middle East.
So that's the opposite of tamping this down.
Yeah.
Said she's made a deal with the devil, taking Wall Street money.
And the devil gets his money.
And the devil gets his money, is basically implying that she's going to be in the pocket of Wall Street when she's president of the United States. And then finishing that riff off by saying, in effect, her policies, along with those of President Obama, by implication, created ISIS. That's a pretty big charge.
Yeah. Well, the other aspect of it that is should be troubling to both elements of the campaign, Sanders campaign and the Clinton campaign, is that if you say anything or even ask a question that has a negative connotation about Bernie Sanders, you come under assault from the Bernie bros, from the Sanders campaign.
Well, welcome to life as a Republican. If you say anything about Donald Trump or Ted Cruz, you got all their haters on you before the words are out of your mouth.
It makes you wonder how many of Bernie Sanders' people, his followers, if he were not to get the nomination, would be okay with sliding over to support Hillary.
It's the exact same dynamic on the Republic. What's so interesting to me this week is how much this race, how much this race now mirrors the intensity of what's happening on the Republican side, and how the whole cycle now is set apart on the right and the left, with the tension between the outsider, the animator, the heart candidate in Sanders and Trump, and the establishment figure, the head candidate in Cruz and Clinton.
Not fighting back a lot and saying Senator Sanders that would take him over Ted Cruz any day. I think there is a fine line that she has to walk, because she can't lose those Sanders. That Sanders movement is huge.
What's also interesting is you talk about taking gloves off against Sanders. The media has been very soft on him, and I think you're basically on some level. We want him in there. Nobody wanted to give Hillary a coronation 6 months ago, so conscious or subconsciously,
they want him in the race.
They want him in the race because there's no story without it. I think that's going to change now, but up until now, given how drastic some of his views are, he's gotten a light swing.
Team, what I saw is looking at Sanders on the edge. What I saw is us actually missing the Sanders story, us meaning the media, the story itself, the movement, kind of missing it, and then maybe correcting a little bit and going a little easy on them. I mean, it's surprising we are this far down the line, and a New York Daily News article shows so many gaping holes that we need to really be looking at with him. I don't think it was purposeful, but I definitely feel I'm guilty of that. I feel like we completely missed the story, and then we're like, well, we've got to cover him. But
I totally agree, because he wasn't covered for a long time. I mean, he was Bernie Sanders. He was running for president. Give me a break. And it turned out, I think a lot of people in the media sort of woke up one day and here Bernie Sanders is the guy for a huge chunk of the Democratic Party, including young voters, and he's a phenomenon. And then people started paying attention to what he was saying. I think, frankly, it is somewhat embarrassing that he had not been grilled in the way that the New York Daily News did about the specifics of what do you do on day one. Not that all the questioning from the Daily News was perfect, right? Because they kind of kept asking about the Fed and this and that. But he shouldn't he have had a more detailed sort of day one plan about how you're going to break up these banks and tear them into little pieces, and as Larry David would say.
Gene, substitute the name Trump for Sanders in what you just said,
or
and you've got two swings and misses by the media.
Or Cruz.
Well,
I mean, Cruz hasn't really been vetted either.
Absolutely. Didn't see.
Here's Paul Krugman in the New York Times. It's one thing for the Sanders campaign to point to Hillary Clinton's Wall Street connections, which are real, although the question should be whether they have distorted her positions, a case the campaign has never even tried to make. But recent attacks on Mrs. Clinton as a tool of the fossil fuel industry are just plain dishonest and speak of a campaign that has lost its ethical moorings. And then there was Wednesday's rant about how Mrs. Clinton is not qualified to be president. It does seem like he's now getting his time in the sun, like close to it. And we'll see how he does. He's been winning. So go ahead.